crazy stuff, and the reason you did it because you didn't have no sense. The fact that you didn't have no sense was not the problem. The problem was you thought you did have some sense. Nobody. But the father listened to his son. He could feel the anxiety in the boy. He could feel the turmoil in his life. And he realized that he could not handle the situation that the boy had. He was not able to give him what he needed. He had it, but the boy wouldn't accept it. And in order to be able to touch somebody, not only do you have to try, but they have to be willing to receive. And he was not willing to receive. So the father listened, and he determined that this boy has gone about as far as he can go here at the house. He wants to get out. He wants his share. And the father granted his son's request. Now, one of the reasons why the father granted his son's request, he knew the boy was not going to be able to handle what he was going to receive. But he thought it was better to give it to him now than to wait till he died and he get it then. Because if he gets it now and mess up, I'll still be here to help him get started again. But if he gets it after I'm dead, I won't be here. He may not have anybody who care enough about him to try to get him back on the right road again. That's wise. So the father took his estate and called his accountants in and had the bankers in, and they evaluated his estate. And he took the total amount and divided it into 3 parts, because the older son was to get twice as much as the rest of the children. So if, for instance, if he had 10 children, he would divide the estate into 11 parts, give the older child 2 parts and the rest of them 1 part. But since he just had 2 children, he divided into 3 parts. And he reserved 2 parts for the older son and gave the younger son his 1 part, 1/3. And he gave it knowing when he gave it to him that he wasn't equipped to handle it. But the boy thought he was. The boy got his money. He got his stuff together. He got him some bags, enough to put his money in, and he left home. So the father granted his request after he had listened to his son. And then the father watched his son leave home. He didn't try to stop him. He didn't try to argue with him. He didn't try to put up a defense. He didn't try to reason with him. He watched his son leave home. It must have hurt his heart. He must have wondered, will he be able to survive the test that life is going to give him? Will he survive it and be able to recover? Because I know what's ahead for him. I've seen it happen too many times. I've seen what folk do with money and don't know what to do with it. I remember back some years ago when a lot of our folk in this area got some asbestos money. Some got 50,000, some got 100,000, and what have you, without experience on how to handle it. Some made down payments on fancy cars, but they couldn't keep the monthly notes up. Some made down payments on houses, but couldn't keep the notes up. Notes up. So even though they had some of how to use it, and it wasn't long before the money they had was gone. The son took his money and left. And he started enjoying life, he thought. He was spending his money in ways to attract folk to him, to make him think that he was somebody. And they kept telling, man, you it. And they kept coming in droves, and they kept admiring him and putting him on a pedestal, and the money kept going out. But one lesson that he did not take into account, if you keep taking money out of the bag and never put any back in the bag, sooner or later the bag is going to become empty. He was not thinking about that. He was thinking about the joy and the fun he was having now. So the father watched him leave. The joy and the fun he was having now.